Hey, this is Averelitus, and today I am here to talk about the topic, what would you change into an anime? Wow, that was a surprisingly easy question for me, and I had quite a lot of fun trying to deduct this mission and trying to improvise a cool video to show you guys. No, too much? The thing I've chosen is Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider. Now, before I start this review slash presentation slash whatever slash formation Otaki thing, I have to share with you guys. Yes, I know there is a manga version of Kamen Rider, so technically it's already Japanese-ish, but there's no anime. And that's what we're supposed to talk about today, so technically it's not done yet. So for those of you who do not know what Kamen Rider is exactly, I'll give you a quick rundown. In 1971, wow, that's a long time ago, there was a mangaka called Shotaro Ishinimoro, and he published a manga called Kamen Rider. And in this manga, there are a bunch of bad guys who want to take over the world by invading it with mutants. That's the best way I can explain it. Basically, their initial plan was to take humans, change them into mutants, brainwashing them, and then send them free into the world of planet Earth and ravaging it and destroying it and making this evil group rulers of the Earth, I guess. Not much to rule if you destroy the planet. Anyhow, there is one Kamen Rider who, well, he doesn't call himself Kamen Rider yet, but there's one person who undergoes a mutation, the whole, he gets rebuilt and stuff, but he manages to escape before he gets brainwashed. And this person is none other than Takeshi Hongo. And Takeshi finds out later he can change, he can transform into one of the mutants. Basically by saying Henshin and then doing some sort of a pose, and then transforming, which is pretty cool. So then in 1979, a show was produced based on the manga, which is pretty cool. It followed the same principles. You have Takeshi Hongo, who gets taken, who gets changed, and etc., 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 and he then, escapes and he fights evil with his common powers, I guess. Now, of course, I wasn't born yet in 1979, but I was born 1989, which is like 10 years later, and I didn't get the chance to watch the series until like when I was 6, 7 years old. So by that time, we're already around 95, 96, 97, and that's when I was introduced to Kamen Rider Black RX, which is this bloke right here, because we're not allowed to use pictures because this is actually a review, seeing that a review would give me the ability to show you pictures, which is not a review, so I'm not allowed to show you guys pictures because otherwise YouTube would just basically flame us and say you guys are idiots, so take off that video or we'll ban you. Why am I saying all this? Anyhow, to many people, this was a icon. Many children back in the day in America had Superman. Some had Spider-Man. Some had Power Rangers. Some had Conan. Some had that guy in pink. He-Man, of course. How could I forget? The gay, actually, yeah. So I had this guy. I had Kamen Rider Black RX, which is pretty cool. So the story for Kamen Rider Black RX is almost the same, except it's not at the same time. Very, very short because this video getting out of the hand. You have a guy called Kentaro who also gets changed into a Kamen Rider. He basically is first called Kamen Rider Black, and then he defeats the enemy, and then there's like this more bigger enemy, a stronger enemy, who says, "Hey, you want to join our evil group?" And he's like, "No," and then they're like, "Okay, fuck you," and then like send him to the sun, and then due to some, his morpher mutates into a new morpher, and then he can morph into Kamen Rider Black RX, which is this guy, which is the guy I like, kind of. It's like he's kind of like my icon. Like when I needed a hero figure, this was the guy, the grasshopper kind of looking guy, and he was very very cool. So I hope that in the future, if they consider it, they would make a Kamen Rider anime.